Welcome to the USO and Lowe's annual or biannual DIY Milspouse Workshop. We are so excited that you're here today. We can't wait to get planting with you, whether you've just PCS to a new location or you're not new to your house, but maybe you're looking for something to spruce it up with a little bit of color, or maybe a gift for somebody else in your neighborhood. We are going to plant today. I'm going to plant along with you. My name is Liz. I'm with the USO Military Spouse Programs team. And we are super excited to be live from USO Camp Pendleton today and sharing this workshop with all of you at your homes. I'm going to welcome our co-host today from the Lowe's team. We have Mike Piper, who's out at USO Camp Pendleton, and he's actually going to lead us through today's workshop.
Hey, everybody, welcome. We're here for the Military Spouse DIY Workshop in beautiful California, Camp Pendleton. And we're excited for everybody that is online, that has joined us. I am Mike Piper. I am the lead of military recruiting and engagement, as well as an Air Force veteran. I've been with Lowe's for 4 years, and I have with me Todd. And hopefully we may be able to hear Todd. If not, I'm gonna have to give him one of my earbuds, which hopefully he doesn't mind. But Todd, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Todd. I work here at one of the local stores, and I'm glad to be here today to help out and participate with the succulent planting that we have today.
Perfect. And we're really excited to have everybody here. We're going to plant some succulents today. And we have some great display pieces here. This is a lovely one. So without further ado, Todd, what do you think? Should we plant some plants? Let's plant some plants. All right.
The pot's got half full of soil here, so we don't make big in this everywhere. There's pots or some containers out there on the table, so we can fill in the soil once we get the succulents in. But kind of try to make it somewhat an easy process to begin with and not get too dirty out there. So I'm ready. If they need to get some succulents, have them come on.
All right. Let's talk about what our partnership does, because we work with you a lot. So can you help me and help everybody understand what you and I and the team that's behind the scenes right now do from military spouses with Lowe's?
Well, thank you to Lowe's for being such a generous supporter of the USO. It's because of you guys that we're able to put on programming for military spouses and military families around the world. So as a military spouse and families team, we support Coffee Connections. We have the special delivery baby showers. We have the Brittany Bacher Discovering Your Spark and Continuing Your Journey series. We have, there's also the Care Package program and USO in a Box, USO Holidays. All of the programs that you probably recognize as USO programs when you see this logo, they're made possible from our generous donors, and Lowe's just happens to be our biggest donor. So we're very appreciative for their partnership and for working with us to bring workshops like this to you, to help give you guys the skills to feel more empowered at home, to do all those little projects that you maybe think about doing and you put on your list, but you don't quite get to because you're not quite sure. So we're here to empower you, to give you some confidence, and most importantly, to make connections. So like Mike mentioned, we've got about 60 or 70 military spouses who are there in person at Camp Pendleton. They might be there for the first time as a brand new PCSN. And they might have lived there for a while, but no matter what, they're making connections in person. And we hope the same goes for all of you joining us from home virtually. That's why we have the chat box here so that you guys can make connections.
All right, fantastic. And we love supporting the USO. If you don't know, Lowe's has a very long heritage with the military. We were actually, the Lowe's you know today was actually founded by 2 World War II veterans. We started over 100 years ago as a small mom and pop store. And then after 2 World War II veterans actually took us to the model that you know today, which is the big box model. On top of just our discount, which everybody knows, you know, with military discount, but we also have the parking spots up front. We also have a DoD skill bridge program that allows service members to come in and get into mid-level management roles with us anywhere across the United States. All of our stores, including the ones in Hawaii and Alaska, are open to be able to participate in that. And we start new cohorts every first month, Monday of the month. So that allows service members to transition into really good paying mid-level management roles with Lowe's. As you can tell, I'm wearing a camo vest as well. This is actually, if you go into our stores, camo vest, that's a veteran. We have that to represent our service as well for our associates. So really love what we do for the military community, and we're going to be doing more. There's a lot more coming down the pipeline. We are very much committed to our military community and supporting them. And nonetheless, Todd, I think we got to talk a little bit here because I'm an Air Force guy, right? And I think, you know, you didn't serve, but you might have had a family member that served.
Yeah, I did. So my dad was in the Navy for 30 years. So I understand that military life, traveling around, moving from place to place, and being able to or happen to make new acquaintances is awesome. So I know that lifestyle. It's fun, but it can also be challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love, just because I've hung around the military, I was only in for 6 years, right? So I didn't have my family with me when I was serving. But one of the things that I love and appreciate about a lot of individuals that are military children is that they are so adept to meeting and being engaged and learning with new people, because that makes it really easy when you come out and when you grow up to actually do what you're doing, right, in retail.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely makes you, from a child's perspective, you grow up a little bit faster in some cases,
Yeah.
and then take on more responsibilities that you might not have done first time around.
Yeah, perfect, awesome. So, Liz, I'm gonna talk with you. I want to see your setup because you're gonna plant with us, right?
I am absolutely going to plant with you. Here, I got to put my phone back in my pocket so I can use two hands. So I went to my Lowe's yesterday and I got some little succulents. I think the little ones are just the cutest. And these were all less than $5 at my local Lowe's. So I got 3. And then I found 2 different pots because I'm going to try to set this in my office and make it pretty. So I found one that's a little bit bigger. I'm going to try to put 2 into here. And then I found one that's little, but it's got the cutest design on it, which I loved. And I need a little bit of color. My husband just retired from the Army last year. We moved into a new house. We've got a lot of white, as you can see behind me. This is my kitchen. So anything I can do to add a little bit of color, and this has a beautiful little turquoise design in it. So I picked this one up and we're going to put one in there too. I found, and we sent everybody a PDF that had all of the instructions and the things that you were going to need on it. We talked about some potting soil that was going to be good for succulents, and they made this foolproof, and it actually says good for succulents. So if you guys at home are looking for something at your local Lowe's, it's the Miracle Grow Cactus, Plum, and Citrus, but right up at the top, it says great for succulents. So it was really like, I mean, I don't want to say idiot proof, but made it very easy on me, which I appreciated because I was in a rush. I got some of these pond rocks that are going to decorate it, and I got my gardening gloves. I'm ready to go.
Look at that. You are ready to go and living the virtual life with us. I love that. Hopefully everybody in the audience is as well on the virtual side. I hope you were able to use that PDF, get yourself some supplies beforehand. We're going to start planting our succulents and kind of going about doing that. So Todd, it's you, man. Oh, let's plant some succulents.
Wow. Okay. So like I said earlier, guys, we all have some pots on the table, right? I got some soils in there. A couple things with soils. As I mentioned online here, there's bags, the foolproof almost. You can go into Lowe's and it'll tell you potting for succulents. So all you have to do is look for that terminology on the bag, and it's perfect soil for succulents. Okay. If you don't find that, it's okay. You still can get a regular bag of potting soil, preferably one that says potting soil on it. That way, we're not overwatering or underwatering our pots or our plants. Succulents are really easy to take care of. You take this plant, set it in a pot, and not come back for it for a couple of weeks. You can take it out and it looks really, really dry, but yet the plants still looks really healthy. They retain water very well. So you don't have to worry about going somewhere over the weekend, not being home to water your succulents, right? Maybe one of the other plants in your house might have to worry about, but succulents overall, very simple to take care of. If you don't find that potting soil that has the word succulent on it, and you just get a normal one, I'd recommend getting some type of sand. Some clay sand at the playground, bags of poly sand, and just mix in a little bit of that with your soil because it likes to drain. Succulents don't like to sit in the pool and hang out. They like to jump in the pool and like to get out and just dry off right away. So if you can't find that succulent soil, there's always other means to take.
So it was hard to hear Todd. Todd is kind of garbled. So if you guys don't mind, since I've got my headphones in, I can hear him a little bit better. We might need Mike to repeat everything just so our virtual audience can hear what Todd is shouting out for the team that's there. But I actually had a question. When I got this at Lowe's yesterday, it had a little plastic plug in the bottom. Did I hear him say that succulents they like to drain? They don't want to sit in their water. So should we have popped out this little plastic piece?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you got something on the bottom that has a hole, we're sharing some more. So if you have something that pot that has a hole on the bottom of them, that's great. If you have a plug on the bottom of it, you can go ahead and take that plug out. We don't want the roots of a succulent to sit into the soil too long. It gets muddy or soupy. They tend to drown at that point. So they like to be in there, jump into a pool, and then just kind of dry off. So we don't want it to be overwatered or the ability for water to stay in the pot too long. So it likes to drain out. Another thing with anybody that has the clay pots also retain water a little bit longer. So if you water your pots and you have a clay pot, it also helps retain some of that moisture. So even longer time periods that you can go without watering the plant as well. If you don't have any holes on the bottom of your plant or your pot, and it's not a clay or ceramic type pot, you can drill a hole in the bottom of it. You can also drill holes in the bottom of your plants for some additional drainage as well. All right, so first things first, you guys got your succulents. Got a wide variety of succulents that were up at the table. Some of these will flower, some of they won't. Some will get very large. Some will get, maybe a foot in diameter. Some of the ones that are flatter. The ones that are growing straight up, I have some in my yard that are probably close to 5 feet right now. So definitely take a while to grow, a little bit slower growing in some cases, but very colorful in a lot of cases, and easy to plant and take care of. So if you guys pick out whatever one you want, just grab your containers. I get the container a little bit and I would just squeeze it all the way around. Kind of loosens the soil and the roots against the pot. And then you can literally just grab it by the top of it, flip it over, and it comes out nice and easy, right? So kind of comes out the shape of the pot. Before you take it in your soil, I'd recommend just loosening at the bottom just a little bit, so the roots aren't all compounded into one little section. Just kind of spread it out just a little bit. And then you can just dig the hole into your pot, what we created a little bit of soil already. Set them in lightly. Don't want to press it down too hard. And then you get to fill it in just with the additional soil that's on your table.
So we should already have some soil in the pot, Todd, is that right?
Yeah, it makes it easier to have some soil in there already. Sorry about that. We kind of pre-soiled some of our pots out here.
That's all right. We got this.
So once you guys have your soil in there and you kind of centered your succulents the way you want them to in your pot, you just take some extra soil and you simply loosely put it around. You don't really want to pack it too much. Just lightly tap the soil in and around. Then as you start to water your succulents down the road, the soil will naturally start to get a little bit more compacted over the next week or so. And then you can add just a little bit more soil.
So we don't want to press the soil in too hard then, is what you're saying?
Yeah, not too hard right off the start. Eventually, that will start to get compacted over time. And then as your plant grows, and you do the same process we're doing here in getting into larger plant or pots to have that succulent grow even bigger, you'd repeat the same process.
Todd, you might have addressed this earlier when we were having a harder time hearing you. About how often do we want to be watering our succulents?
So succulents overall, depending on the pot that you have in there and what type of soil, if you got that succulent soil that you have there, maybe once a week we'd have to sit there and water them. If you have a regular soil and it didn't have succulent stated on there and it's just a normal potting soil, maybe once every 10 days you'd have to water them. Succulents are very difficult to kill in a sense. So you could let the soil go as dry as possible, and then you can water at that point too.
So no need to water as we're putting them in right now?
No, right now the potting soil that you have, unless that container is really dry with your succulent in it, you just take it out and you'll be able to put it in your soil, and then obviously you'd be able to sit there and let it go for a good week before you have to water it again.
Okay. The reason I ask is because I know some people are planting at home with us, but I've got one of my succulents that came out was really dry and the other two were very wet. So they had probably been watered recently in the store. So one was a little bit dry, but the soil as it comes out is looking good and moisturized. So just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, the good and moisturized soil should help that. All right. You can always take it and just dip it in your pot in a side container of water, or just water it quickly under the sink or with your hose if you're in the garden.
All right.
But not.
So I have a question, Todd. I don't know if you can see the screen, what I'm holding up, but when I was shopping at Lowe's yesterday, I saw this and it was called a succulent waterer. Why is something like this going to be important? I mean, why not just use like a regular old plant watering can?
So here, the container that you're holding for the watering, that had a very small tube to it. So you get to control where you can put the water. So you don't have to add so much water into your soil. If you use the water hose or use buckets, or you get something from the sink, you can put it in there and could overwater the succulent. You just don't need to do that. So that makes it very easy to go around your pots. And as succulents grow and you put multiple in, like Mike had showed at the beginning that we'd be raffling off here in the audience, they start to grow very bushy, and you can get that little nozzle in there and you can get it into the soil versus it hitting the succulents and running off.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you for that. That's super helpful. So you guys can just watch me put. So here's how mine's looking so far. So I got my big one. I put in 2 succulents. I put in this little cactus looking guy, and then this big, longer, bushy looking guy. So cute. We did this one too. I just put one little solo guy. I think succulents look so cute when there's just one in there solo. I don't know, something about that. And I have made an absolute mess. They told us to use rocks, and I'll be the first to admit, you guys, I'm on here as like a co-host, but I've never planted a succulent before. If anybody knows what the rocks are for, throw it in the chat. Drainage. Oh, wait, drainage. They probably should have gone down first then. Somebody just put in that the rocks are for drainage. I probably missed that when I couldn't hear Todd, to drain the water. All right, well, I forgot to put those in, but that's okay. We're good. I think we've lost our feed from Camp Pendleton. That's all right. Oh, Trish says I can also put these at the top for decoration and aesthetics. Yes, Melinda, I see that too. Sure. Yes.
What do we do? What do we do next? Anything?
So next you can sit and enjoy them, right? Put them where you want to. Add additional pots into the house. Put more succulents out and about. These are some things, at least out here in California right now, we are in somewhat of water conservation. So this is super easy on the garden and obviously indoors. So a lot of different colors. As you guys see here in the audience, and if you go to your local Lowe's, you'll see that they're very colorful. They're not just plain green all the time. A lot of succulents have green, reds, purples, whites, and they also have flowers in some cases that will bloom. As I stated earlier, some of them grow very wide, some grow very tall. I have a few in my yard that I see out here today. I think I mentioned earlier that are up to about 4 or 5 feet tall. And then I also have a few planted in certain areas at about anywhere from 6 to probably 16, 18 inches wide as well. So just got to make sure that when you're taking your succulents that you're not integrating them with other areas of plants, because you don't want to not water the plant enough, and you don't want to overwater the succulents in that area too. So try to keep those in different separate areas of your yard or in pots as well. You don't want to take a succulent and put it in with a nice plant that takes a lot of water, because you're doing damage to one and having the other one very healthy.
Yeah, so the question here in the audience for everybody online is, do they require partial sun or full sun, or what is the requirement from a sun perspective? So Todd, what is it?
That's a good question. Succulents, they can take full sun. You can have them 6+ hours in the sun all day long. And the smaller the pot, the more you may have to water something if it's 6+ hours in the sun. The pots that we have out here today in that size, you could set it out in your yard and go a whole week, 6+ hours a day, and water it once a week. If they're in the ground, you can even go a little bit longer than that.
Is it better to water from the top or from the bottom?
Another good question. So I'm kind of 50-50 on that. Either way, you could take them and put them in another container of water to get that water coming from the bottom of it if you have the holes in there. For me, it's much easier just to go around and water the tops of them, because at that point, you know the water's going from the top and draining through the bottom. Like I said earlier, succulents don't like to sit and hang out in the pool. They like to jump in and like to jump out.
All right, we got another one from online. Do you need to use fertilizer?
Yeah, you can use fertilizers. The fertilizers you buy, or the bags that you buy in your local Lowe's stores or any other retailer that you're purchasing them from, if it says succulent on the bag, it already has some pre-fertilizers in them. If not, and you want to do it 6 months down the road, most bags have about a 3-month lifespan for fertilizers. If you want to purchase any fertilizers after that, you just look for a fertilizer that talks about cactus, succulents, or palms.
We got something else that we've got to be able to throw in here. And we've actually got some pebbles and some glass beads. I know, Liz, you were showing off yours, but we also got some here as well. So we're gonna kind of look at that and say, hey, look, you can make it as colorful as you want, right? I did see a question in the chat that I do want to get to, because I thought it was really good for this type of thing here. And it was, can you put a cactus inside the succulents as well when you plant down?
Yeah, you can put cactus in there. They're all in the same family. the way they get watered, the way they absorb the water and retain it, most certainly can put cactus in with your succulent.
All right, fantastic. All right, so the next one we got here from the virtual audience is it okay to put the succulents in a bathroom without windows?
Yeah, that's okay to do as well. Succulents will strive either way. Might bring it out and give it a little bit of light every once in a while. I'd say every once a month, give it a little light. But other than that, the light in the bathrooms that you are using in there, you can certainly keep a succulent in there.
Great question. I actually like this one. What kind of pests do they have to look out for?
Pests?
Yeah, like anything that's going to eat the plant or give it a disease.
Well, they're pretty resilient. However, there are some insects that is good when you fertilize that have insect repellents in them. Some of them, most of them are underneath the soils that like to eat the roots. So you look for grubs and things like that that are root eating versus insects on top.
Liz, how you doing over there? I see the gloves coming back on.
I'm doing great. You know, I'm one of those people who's never satisfied with the finished product. So I keep looking at my big succulent here. I've got 2 in one pot, and I don't think I had enough dirt. So I added more dirt, but now I've got to add more of these cute little river rocks. But I love it because they add just a little bit of color. So I'm just getting my hands dirty. I'm loving this. And I love the question about the cactus too, because those cactus plants can sometimes have that beautiful pink bud at the top that adds another pop of color. I'm all about the pop of color.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you can do so many different things. We've got so many up here that are just, the opportunities and the possibility is endless. The creativity can definitely go very wild with succulents as you kind of go through. So I did see a few more questions here. All right. If you don't have a hole in the pot, is a rock enough to drain?
Yeah, very good question. So if you don't have the ability to be able to drill additional holes on the bottom to create that extra drainage, about an inch layer of rock on the bottom of that helps separate the water and the soil so that those roots don't sit in a muddy situation. So that's a very good question. It's, put at least about an inch worth of rock on the bottom for additional drainage.
All right. What about from our live audience? Any more questions? Any questions from that? Go for it. The question was, how do you know that you need to repot your plants?
So it's kind of up to you a little bit. So if you like the height, the width, how it's looking now in your pot, you can leave it like that forever and it's not going to outgrow it. It's going to stay in that area. If you want those things to continue to grow, once it gets about a half inch from the edges of your pot, is a good time to replant. And then once you want to replant, if this is a 6-inch pot, you want to go to maybe an 8-inch pot. Every 2 inches, you want to keep going so your plant doesn't stop growing. If you put it in too big of a pot, when it's a smaller plant, it won't grow quickly enough. Gnats are a pain right now, absolutely. Some things that won't harm them right now is just soap and water in a spray bottle. That's one of the easiest ways to do it. There's some other things that you can go into your local Lowe's stores and purchase as well that are safe for the environment, safe for your plants. But gnats are a difficult one right now. They also have some things out there that look like apples that you can set around them that help draw them to that versus into your plants. But gnats, soap and water is probably the easiest remedy.
All right, we got one on the virtual side that I think everybody here also will appreciate. I'm actually curious as well. Can you save and revive the leaves that fall off?
So you can. There's certain ones that like a vine, they'll kind of hang down in a vine and have lots of little petals on them. As those fall off, you can leave them into the soil and they'll end up starting to attach and grow roots to it. But you can revive petals. You can also take clippings. Some of the ones that are very long right now that I've seen in some, you can take clippings of those, stick them in the soil, and they will also grow just by sticking them in the soil that's currently in the pot.
Which part do you cut from the clippings?
So you can cut from the tops. You probably go 2 or 3 inches down from the top of the ones that are nice and long. The ones that are smaller, same thing. You can cut them from the top of that. Just have the little stem. You create that little stem from the top of the succulents, and you can just stick them in the ground as well.
Asking what kind of sand can you use to mix in with the soil?
So sand, you can use just about any sand. Play sand. Today we were using in some of the soil just a sand that you actually use for pavers to lock them into place. Nothing that you have specifically has to be for a succulent, but anything just to create that extra drainage. If you're near a beach, you can get a cup of sand from the beach even.
Oh, that's great. Dude, bring a little sand and a beach home.
There you go.
You know, you could travel. I mean, we've got some individuals, maybe, I don't know, Fort Leonard Wood, not to call anybody out. You're in the middle of really kind of a lot of no water and no beaches. Maybe you could grab some sand from a nice vacation and add it into your terrarium and be able to bring maybe the Bahamas or something like that back to you. So that's fantastic. So Liz, you know, I think one, we've got some beautiful looking succulent terrariums here, but I gotta see yours as we close this out. Well, I gotta see what you did. How did yours come out?
All right, so I'm gonna put this real close to my camera. I did this big double one in this beautiful big pot with a nice little design on it. We got two, and I've got my rocks on top because I missed the memo about the rocks being on bottom for drainage, but I do have a hole in the bottom of this pot. So here's my double succulents, and this is gonna go in my office. And then I've got the single one because I just think it looks so cute when you have one all by itself. And again, the rocks are on top for decoration. We've got a hole in the bottom, so I'm gonna put just a little plate under here to catch the water when I do water. And I love, love, love the design on here. So I'm pretty proud of these.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Looking good.
You should be proud of those. Those are going to look great. It's a nice little pop of color in that very white kitchen of yours. I think that's going to be great. Well, that was fantastic. I think, you know, this was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that everybody could join us in the world, around the world, and from all over Japan, Italy, Germany I saw in there, and I'm glad we could be able to bring this to everybody for a little bit of a relief and a little bit of some fun. So from Camp Pendleton, we've got our live audience here, but we're really excited to say adieu and thank you for joining us today.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, team at Camp Pendleton.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who came in person out there in California, and to all of you who joined us online. Thank you. Whether you're watching this live or you're catching it later on YouTube, we're so glad you were here. I did see a comment in the chat box that you guys want to do another one on plants. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll announce something for 2023 and we'll do more on plants, because I think this is a fun one that we can all do together at home. We appreciate everyone joining us today. Thank you so much from wherever you are around the world. We appreciate you, we honor you, and we look forward to seeing you guys next time. Have a good one.